A couple more days have passed and I just got the message that the studio is finished, or at least the first draft of the studio. So first of all, we have the ceiling cloud complete. We have now 3 pieces. However, I really think there should be another one here, closing that corner and also be right above the speaker. I'm waiting for his reply regarding that concern, but that's something I really think we should do. Then we have installed the first corner trap here. I think it looks really cool and it covers the whole edge, which is nice. But they put the second one here. Now, I assume that it couldn't fit between the aircon and the corner. But when we measured it, actually was exactly working. So that's something I'm not sure about, I have to ask. Then the next are the ceiling corners. They were supposed to be covered up with like thick absorbers as well to get the bass more under control. That didn't happen yet. Instead they put those 2 small absorbers here and here. Not really sure what to think about that. What they also done is they improved the door. So now, can you hear? You can hear like the people speaking, some woo, some noise and all that stuff. And now let's close the door. Yeah, you cannot hear it anymore. Maybe a tiny bit, but not much. So the door is finally working. They added an additional layer and now like when you pull it like really hard, then it seals completely and I think that's really good. One concern regarding sound isolation door is this wall over here. So behind we have the big window, and when we discussed the isolation part, we also talked about what's possible and what not. And actually he said that we can isolate the sound pretty much 100%, but you still hear the low rumble when the scooter is passing by, like it's a bit annoying and I'm not sure what we can do. Yeah, but I need to ask him that as well. Oh, also one more thing, the absorber here is not cleaned up. That needs to be done more nicely, at least covered up or something. Here, this used to be one of my absorbers with like LED stripes and now instead they just took it off. And yeah, I think they should improve that as well. Yeah. Then what they have done is they have built the air gap here, nice, and then just mounted them to the wall. I think on both sides. We did 10 centimeters now, so the absorbers are 15 centimeters thick, and usually they say you can go as wide as the absorber is, but yeah, I needed some more space, and I think 10 is fine. And then the last concern is the back wall. So we have those 50 centimeter absorber plugs here. I'm not so happy how this looks. So those are the concerns. And now it's time to set up the speakers and we make the very first measurements and sound check and see how it sounds now when everything is at the place intended, more or less. We're gonna see what the result says. The last time I have to use my professional case for my speakers. Let's talk about studio tables. So over the last couple of years, I tried different tables. I also bought like semi-professional music producer tables. But to be honest, they caused more problems than anything else. The reflection was horrible with those 2 layers of the table and everything, the ergonomics and everything was just not really satisfying. And yeah, also the frequency response with the measurements was concerning as well. Therefore, I just bought this new table here. It's a really small IKEA table, but it's super convenient because you have those cable trays here. And then you basically have 2 layers, so I can put like my audio interface and my laptop down here. And then up here it's still enough space for my Electron devices. And yeah, it saves a lot of space. It's really minimal. And I did some measurement comparison back in my old studio. And this one was performing much better. So yeah, the smaller the table, the more happy as a producer. Being a messy person always means to have messy cables. I just realized I don't have a chair. Everything is set And now we can listen first time to the music in this new room. Let's do it. Okay, that's impressive. It sounds really powerful. The bass is super strong. It sounds clear. Overall, I think like the first impression is really surprising. It sounds also lively. It doesn't sound completely dead. I think there are still some issues with the low end and some reflections from the back, or it's just me being not used to this room. I'm not sure. Something I realized, I listened to that song from Boracles, From Now On. I listened to that a million times. And I heard some notes and some background effects that I never heard before, even on headphones. That's weird. But besides that, it's an impressive first impression. Okay, now let's switch to something harder and faster. Do you want to dance again? Okay, the bass sounded less full on this track. There was a big difference, I would say, compared to the first song. It sounded way more shallow. Or can you hear the rumble right now outside? It's loud. Yeah, it sounded less full. I have this feeling when I'm getting closer to the speakers, it sounds more bassy. Like between here and here, there's a big difference. And my understanding in a professional music studio, it shouldn't be that big of a difference. Okay, let's try something I listened to a million times. Time from Querox. Interesting. This song sounded really good here. I really have that feeling right now that when I'm getting closer, basically where this absorber here is, the bass is really full, like really, really full. And then here where I'm sitting right now, it's losing a bit of the punch. Also what I realized, I have to make it way louder compared to my home studio to get the same loudness level. So I think because the reflections and the energy is much less in the room, you need more energy to put in to compensate for that. Okay, now let's make the very first measurement and see how the frequency response roughly is at this position over here. Uh-oh, this ain't flat at all. This is bad. That's the 24 decibels moving, and we have jumps from 90 Hertz down to 65 Hertz. We have standing waves here. You can see here's everything all over the place. Let's check the waterfall and see how the reverb time is. Okay, the reverb time is good.
Personally, from the graph of RT60, I think the room should sound fine. This is my personal experience. But if you want more bass traps, like more towards the bass, and then maybe sacrifice a little bit of the higher end, which is now like well controlled, we can do that.
The overall frequency response. Right now we are at plus minus 10, some parts even plus minus 20 decibels.
How do you distinguish that this is something from the room and not something from the speaker?
Well, first of all, those are channel X speakers. Secondly, I have comparisons to my old places. And
so you mean your old place is better than this?
For the frequency response, right now, yes. That's plus minus 10 decibel. So like at night.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
How does it sound? Does it sound like that? Like
it really depends on the song. Some songs sound really full. Some they lack bass, I would say. Like it's just not there. Others sound a bit like meshed together, and others sound quite clear. I think depending on the tone of the track, it sounds very, very different.
Yeah, we'll help you out. Don't worry, and we'll make sure the room is good.
Okay. But that's what I mentioned before. The reason why I hired you and why I paid so much money is that the studio should be ready. I don't want to be that guy again who is moving speakers up and down, left and right, 5 centimeters front, back. until I find the best position. Like, that's kind of your job to make this ready so I can start produce. Don't you think?
Yeah, yes, I agree. We can do that.
Whew, that was a long call with the studio designer. I shared my concerns and my worries. So yeah, tomorrow he will come by and we will go in together and see what we can do to make this sound good. But for today, he asked me to move out those 3 absorbers. Those were made by another guy. They were pretty cheap and they're quite thick and they might reflect more than they actually absorb. Therefore, I'm gonna bring them out quickly and see how the measurement will be different. Okay, let's do it. I bought gloves because the fabric is super white and super sensitive and I don't want to put my hands on it and make it dirty. Okay, so with and without those back absorbers, the frequency response is pretty much the same. The only thing that is changing is the RT60, especially in the low ends. Let me open it quickly. So with the back absorbers, the RT60 at 50 Hz is at 450 milliseconds and without it goes up to 500 milliseconds. So basically 50 milliseconds more. So conclusion of today, I had a really long phone call with the designer of the studio here and we agreed that there's some work to be done, and he also agreed that he will put more absorption inside, especially some more bass trapping and also some more overall absorption. That will be step 1. So he will send his technicians to build it. And then step 2 is gonna be that we're gonna meet here together and then we determine, okay, how to improve listening position and get those last 15-20% out of the room as well. I was actually hoping that today just everything is perfect, but obviously that's not the case. But yeah, he promised me he will get it under control, and once he gets here, we will figure it out. So that's the plan for the next couple of days. But for today, that's enough. And oh, actually not. Now I have to go to a potential new pool party location. He contacted me last week, so we're going to check that out quickly. And then also I got really good news that our new nightclub location for SUBWERK might be able to open next week already. So if you're looking for techno and psytrance events, link down below. Okay, just reviewed the potential pool party location. It's interesting, it's quite big. The layout is also interesting. It's not having the best view or like the best atmosphere from the surrounding, but yeah, maybe we can make something work. As they have so much space, which is quite rare, we can use it for more activities, you know, like beer pong table and other games. So that's a potential, but anyway, that's something for another day. I also just received a message from the studio builder and he confirmed that he will get most of my issues sorted. The only thing that he is not sure about is those low frequency issues under 60 Hertz. But yeah, we have to see about that. He's sending his workers tomorrow and the day after. And then on Friday, so in 3 days, we're gonna meet together and see what has been improved. So thank you for watching and see you next time.